You know, Joe, one of the things I love about being in the green room is getting the backstory, understanding the narrative of the person that I get a chance to have a conversation with. And so folks will get your bio. They'll read all wonderful things you are online. But take a moment and just share with me, if you would, who is Joe and what is Joe up to these days?
So first of all, Che, thank you. And it's a privilege and an honor to be on your show, The Happy Entrepreneur. I'm super excited to share my wisdom. And I'm somebody that basically, has done the rat race, still do the rat race a little bit, but kind of decided that, there's more to life than being in a job and kind of being broke all the time. And so my purpose now is to try and help entrepreneurs and individuals understand that there's more to life.
Yeah, there's more to life, which is so true. What should they expect from you on this particular episode, those folks that are tuning in all over the world?
I'm going to be focusing on the art of communication in terms of corporate culture and understanding, how to hire people, how to treat people in an organization, and using your communication skills to actually generate more business.
Wow, using your communication skills to generate more business. Take a moment and kind of elaborate on that a little bit. Unpackage that for us.
Well, I'll start with one of my favorite shows is Undercover Boss. And I'm always amused at the end of the show when the executive goes, oh my God, I should talk to the people that actually work for this company in the front line. Maybe I'll have some insights. Who would have thought? So I've kind of looked at it from, I've been in recruiting for 20 years. I help companies understand what corporate culture is, what corporate social responsibility is, and help them if they need to downsize as well, and do the recruiting. And all of that ties into communication. When you're interviewing people, the generic questions give you generic answers. So how can you change the question to better understand the people that are applying? How can you treat your people better so that you don't have turnover and that people are happy and excited to work for you? Sadly, the statistics say that in North America, 80 to 90% of people hate their job. And the number one reason is management or their communication style. And then thirdly, again, it's a level of what are you doing to make sure that you're different than everybody else? And it's not just here's my marketing material, but communication.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That sounds right on target. Now, take a moment and tell us, what's your mission in life right now? What purpose are you on?
Well, I want to create an environment where there's more than 90% transparency in the job market in North America by helping people understand that there's easier ways to navigate not only hiring people, keeping them, but creating a culture of celebrating success, celebrating achievement, celebrating individuality and team contributions at the same time through proper communication, through kind of recognizing that we're all connected one way or another.
I love it. Well, I can't wait, man, for Vicky Ram that's out there, for Carol that's out there, for James to just join on. So many folks that are tuning in. You're in for a treat, especially if you're one of those entrepreneurs out there. Like, how do I hire the right person? Like, how do I get that right assistant? How do I get that right business development person? How do I get that right tech person on my team? Like, how do I make that happen? Well, today is your day. We got to go ahead and get started. What's up, John? Good to see you, my man. We got to get started in 5. This is the only thing I get to do. 4. I love it. 3, 2, 1. It's showtime. We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen, to kick the show. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there. And they stay there, and they stay there.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country where we are on a mission. Yes, I love this mission. Our mission is to empower. Check that out. Our mission is to inspire, and our mission really is to provide you the entrepreneur, you the business owner, you the person that gets up every single day to make a difference in the world, to provide you with all of the resources necessary to execute 3 visions that I believe you have. First, you have a vision for yourself, the way you want to live, the foods you want to eat, the clothes you want to wear. It takes resources. That's holding you back right now. We're going to change that. Some of you have a vision for your loved ones, the ones you care the most about, the ones you want to send your kids to a school of your choice, or you want to write a check for another family member. Maybe it's just for health care, or some of you want to have a bigger contribution to family and ones you love. You know what? It takes resources. And then for others out there, you have a vision. This is the 3rd vision for the people you were called to serve. And imagine for a moment that you want to change the world. And whether you're a believer or not, I happen to be a believer, right? And there's this good book. And in the good book, there's a guy named Noah. And imagine Noah has this vision from God. He's been given the experience like you, given the expertise like you, but there's no hammer. God, he has a problem. No resources. There's no nail. Whoop, he has a problem. There's no resources. He has no wood and he has no team. He has no resources. So Noah's sitting there saying, I need some resources. And that's why we have Joe here today to give you the resources necessary to make sure you bring on the right team. So with that being said, let me welcome to the platform. Welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the one and only Joe Stetter. Did I get that right? Stetter?
Yes, you did. You did. Think about it like stutter, but with an E, right? So, Jay Brown, thank you again for having me, the Happy Entrepreneur. I'm so excited, and I don't think it's a coincidence that the Happy Entrepreneur is interviewing the founder of the Celebrate Group. You know, we're in an energy of positivity, and regardless of what's going on in the world, you can still focus on those positives. And I'm excited to share some of my experiences and some of my knowledge as it comes to that.
Yeah, and we think about that, staying positive for where we are in the world right now. How are you able right now for where you are and with everything going on? These are uncharted waters. We're in times like we've never seen before. How are you able to maintain focus, man, during a time like these?
You know what? This is not the first time I've faced adversity, maybe not on such a large or global scale. But at the end of the day, if you're not willing to take a leap of faith and pivot at a moment's notice, you're going to be left behind. Companies as a whole that kind of go, we don't need to change, we're the best, no one's ever going to touch us, they get smoked. You know, in the job market world, Monster, for example, was the industry leader, and they had an attitude of we're too big to fail. Indeed came slowly but surely, did more and more and gave more value to people, and now Indeed is the #1 job finding site in the world, or in North America kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it's that level of always be creating, always be innovating, always find ways for opportunities to kind of match what you're doing and go with the change of direction for it.
That's a good segue into the topic we're talking about today, which is 3 absolute communication skills that every entrepreneur needs to master. Now, when people hear the word communication, they're like, oh my gosh, I've got to talk to somebody again. Take a moment and talk about why something that seems so basic like breathing, communication, is still a challenge, especially for entrepreneurs today when it comes to hiring the right talent and bringing the right team aboard.
So what's happening is that we've become a generation where we're way too focused on, Twitter, 140 characters or less. No one's ever gotten married from 140 characters. No one's ever, hired somebody from 140 characters. So we've lost that art of personal communication. And what's happening in the market right now is that entrepreneurs that need to hire people are asking generic questions and getting generic cookie cutter answers. And so it becomes a kind of a sea of sameness, if you will, where everybody's doing the exact same thing. And at the end of the day, entrepreneurs need to hire somebody that they feel and trust is a good fit for them, a good connection for them. So they need to know how to communicate. Not only do they need to know how to communicate in terms of hiring people, sadly, the statistics in North America say that 80 to 90% of people hate their job. So if you hate your job and you're the entrepreneur that's hiring people, maybe it's you that's the problem, because the way you're communicating is micromanaging and yelling and screaming at people, and that's not the way to celebrate. Obviously, with a name like the Happy Entrepreneur for the show here, right, there's a level of, you need to have a certain level of energy to connect with people and ensure that they want to be led by somebody that's excited, not someone who's miserable, for example. And similarly, as much as there's great marketing strategies out there, that personal touch that is so important. Going to network one-on-one, not just saying, how many emails I get daily, let's say on my LinkedIn account saying, hey, we do SEO, do you want to look at our services? Not a single insight on my business, not any actual personal connection, but just the spam approach of like, let me just keep sending it until somebody responds to me. And, if you want to do that, you're going to be miserable, and it's going to take you a very long time to succeed, because that's not how to do business. Napoleon Hill, in the book Think and Grow Rich, talked about the importance of going the extra mile, the value added. That's where that personal connection is. That's where people can tie into you. And I'm lucky enough to surround myself with people that are of the mindset that there's abundance. And the more you collaborate, the more opportunities that come. I wouldn't be on the show if it wasn't for my mentor and friend, Dr. Obam Bowen, who, I'm part of his mastermind and part of his inner circle. And he mentioned he was on your show. He had such a good time. And I was like, hey, I'd love to be on the show. He made the introduction. Here I am. If that didn't happen, if that personal introduction didn't happen, I wouldn't have this opportunity. And I think a lot of people are missing that. That's where communication kicks in.
You mentioned, and you stated earlier when you first started sharing, that we're asking generic questions, we're getting generic answers, and therefore there's this challenge with making sure we're even hiring the right people as entrepreneurs. Can you peel the onion, talk about that, maybe even give us an example? And for those folks like Francis out there watching, Kim Wyckoff who's out there, Craig Talley, Alyssa says she's tuning in from beautiful Florida. We appreciate all of you tuning in right now. Talk about what you meant by that, please.
So let's start with kind of the formula most people follow in questioning. So if you ask questions like, tell me about this job, everybody lists their duties and their responsibilities. I know how to do this. I know how to do this. I often give this example. If you're applying to be a receptionist somewhere, an administrative assistant, and you tell me that you know how to answer the phone, a potential employer is going to look at you in shock and go, really? A receptionist that knows how to answer the phone? We did not know that. Because unless you live in a cave, an igloo, or a Mennonite, chances are you know how to press the green button and go, hello, how can I help you? So people asking, tell me about this job, get generic answer. So I modify that question and say, what are your 3 biggest achievements in the job? Because now you need to quantify for me how good you are. So if a receptionist says to me, I know how to answer 60 calls a day with 12 different lines, I can measure 60 calls a day with 12 different lines. I can't measure, I know how to answer the phone, for example. And so we need to shift away from generic questions like, another standard question that everyone asks is, what are your 3 strengths? Well, everyone says I'm hardworking, I'm dedicated, committed, and I'm a team player. In 20 years of recruiting, I've met very few people that say, listen, I'm lazy, I'll show up late, none of my work will be any good, and I really hate people, please hire me. Not unless you're related to them or having an affair with them that you can kind of get away with that. Mm-hmm. So why are we asking such a stupid question? Instead of, if you want to know, let's say, real characteristics of the person, one of my favorite questions in an interview is, if I were to ask one of your closest friends to describe you in 3 or 4 words, as if they're setting you up on a date, how would they describe you? If you tell me that your friends are going to describe you for a date as hardworking, dedicated, committed, and a team player, it is the worst date possible. Now, what's interesting about that question is when you shut up and step back and let them talk, I've had people that rationalize out loud which friend is going to set them up on a date. They're like, oh, Sarah thinks I'm crazy, not Sarah. So definitely Jenny. Jenny will say blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, the fact that you think Sarah thinks that you're crazy tells me something about your personality right away. But changing the word a little bit from, let's say, tell me about this job to what was your biggest achievement in this job? You get to see how passionate you are. You get to see how the efforts match to what you're looking for and understand, because at the end of the day, any profession that you take, let's say an accountant that tells me I know how to make financial statements, Have you ever met an accountant that does not know how to make financial statements? If they don't, why are they an accountant? Kind of thing, right? So stop asking these kind of redundant questions. Like, yes, there's a very large behavioral list of questions that you can find on Google for an interview, but modify them to results or to value that's significant to you. Because, you know, a lot of these generic words like hardworking, let's use that as an example. Let's compare, let's say, accounting and nurses. During tax season, accountants, it's pretty much mandatory that they work 80 hours a week. So what's hardworking, 100? Versus a nurse that might be doing, let's say, an 18-hour shift and then have to stay an extra 2 or 3 hours because the next shift didn't arrive for whatever reason. They're both hardworking, but the measure of hardworking is very different. So it is very important that entrepreneurs learn how to communicate, where they ask specific questions that relate to the personality, that relate to kind of either skill sets that they don't have themselves that they need to make sure the person is mastered to help them grow their business, or skill sets that demonstrate you can handle the volume that I have. You know, there's a difference between someone who sold lemonade when he was 10 years old, calling someone a salesperson, and someone that says, you know what, I did, like, for example, one of my roles, I went and worked in a private college, and before I came in, they did $530,000 for the year in sales. I generated $860,000 in 1 month for them, right? So when I say $860,000 in a month compared to $530,000 for the year, instantly you know that I have the ability to sell. Now you can ask me extra questions about how did I do it? How did I kind of almost double what they did in an entire year and an entire month? What strategies did I implement as a salesperson? But now you can kind of see the thought process to make sure that this is the kind of salesmanship that you want or you need for your business, for example. And so entrepreneurs need to stop asking the generic questions that give them the same cookie cutter results. Tell me about yourself. What are your strengths? What is one of your weaknesses? Things of that, and start giving situational or specified, how do you do this? And here's what I'm looking for as measures or results, kind of thing.
You know, a number of folks struggle with bringing on an assistant, which you talked about earlier. You're kind of framing the conversation, and you have entrepreneurs on here, and they're bringing on their first assistant, or they're bringing on an admin, 2 different type of positions, as you know, and that's something that's very common. Or they're looking at partnering with, collaborating with someone else. So you mentioned the mutual friend. We have Dr. Obama. Let's say he and I are a partner, and I've got to communicate with Dr. Obama that we have some of the same missions. We have the same values. Right. Let's work together. What are some ways that someone could, or questions maybe someone should ask when they're looking at partnering with another entrepreneur? So, because that's kind of an interview in itself, right? And I know that's a broad question, but they have to effectively communicate not only why they should work with someone else, but why it's a good reason for them.
Okay, and so I'm going to say it this way. Unfortunately, there's way too many kind of self-proclaimed gurus and experts and there. So you need to know what is the results that you need to achieve. I'm going to use 2 different examples, if I may, to kind of show that. So when I speak to financial advisors, for example, and they say, hey, I'm a financial advisor, can I be your financial advisor? I ask them one of 3 questions. Mm-hmm. Number 1, what is your net worth? And when they go, well, that's kind of a personal question, I go, listen, if you're struggling to pay rent and you want to advise me in my money and I'm worth more than you, you can't be my financial advisor. Now, if you don't want to answer this question, the next question I have is, what is your asset under management and how much is your biggest client invested with you? Because I want to know that you can handle larger sums of money. And the third question I ask, because I actually worked in finance and I have my designations, is do you have any knowledge beyond, let's say, mutual funds and life insurance? Do you know anything about derivatives, options, crypto? If the answer is no, I'm sorry, you're not the financial advisor for me. Similarly, if I'm hiring, let's say, someone who is an SEO expert, everyone says that they're an SEO expert. So my first question, for example, is how have you adapted to Panda? If they don't know who or what Panda is, they're not the SEO expert for me, because Panda is somebody at Google that realized that large organizations can pay millions of dollars for SEO, and they always appear first on page one, which kind of went away from what Google started with, kind of allowing any business to appear on page one. So they've changed the algorithm that it's not just SEO now, it's shifting to what's called UEO, which is user experience optimization. So if you put a video on and it's a 5-minute video, Google tracks how many people are actually watching the entire 5 minutes. How many people are scrolling past the breaking point of the eye on the page? How much time are people spending on your website? Are they clicking on any of the tabs? Are they clicking on the experts? Because of this new algorithm, I'll call it, eBay lost 80% of their organic traffic. So when a company like eBay loses 80% of their organic traffic, you better be aware what Panda is and how it's affected the world of SEO, for example. Now, I'm not dismissing someone that knows how to connect with different groups and create organic traffic for you. But again, looking at your show, Che, for example, it's a national show. So there's a very difference between joining a local, like, hey, let me be part of this group, let me support this here locally, and joining groups that will give you national exposure, for example. And you have to have somebody that knows that. So when you're partnering up with people, you know, whatever their expertise is, you need to sit down, take it, and kind of interview them from a perspective of, okay, I need this from you because I don't know this. So can you give me proof that you've done this result, that you can generate this for me? Can I speak to some of your clients that have used you in the past? And because I want to get their experience with you, for example. If someone's afraid to give you their clients, that's a red flag. Like, you know, I'm not talking about all their clients, but there's always a client or two that's giving you a testimonial very publicly that will be happy to speak to anybody that has questions or concerns about you, kind of thing. So it's very important to kind of draft the conversation on, okay, how can we make this a win-win-win situation? What are your strengths? What do I bring to the table? You know, everybody has a network, but how much of our network overlaps? How much of our network is the exact same events, the exact same there? If it's the exact same, maybe it's not the right partnership if it's not going to produce results that help you grow and help you move faster, kind of thing.
Very powerful. Why is this so near and dear to you? I mean, every time you talk about it, the passion comes out. Even before we started, the passion comes out. I hear the fire, the wheels start turning. You're like, yeah, this is my time, Shay. I'm ready for this. Where does this passion come from, my man?
So in trying to figure out what I want to do when I grow up, I've switched careers 9 times and jobs 17 times. And every time I switch career and every time I switch job, I've had to get new designations. I've had to learn how to communicate with the industry and the people around me. And I figured out ways to make it successful in one capacity or another. And I think that right now there's a level where there's so many great businesses out there that nobody knows about because they're not communicating effectively. They're not branding themselves a certain way. And everything ties in. By no means am I a marketing expert, but I pay attention to the details. Like my favorite color is purple. The shirt that I'm wearing today is purple. My business card is purple. My website color is purple. The messaging that I send to people has purple in it because it's consistent. Because when I go to a networking event, for example, even if they don't remember my name, when I send them an email say, I'm the guy that wore purple, they usually remember me because there's an emotional connection to purple, for example. And it's not just, let me try to have the same cookie cutter conversation. It's, here's where I'm different. Here's where I'll talk to you about things that matter to you. And I'll ask you questions about how this works. You know, as a recruiter, I've been a generalist and I've recruited for companies like Deloitte Touche, Apotex Pharmaceuticals, Aecon Construction, Tata Consulting Services, IBM. And so you have to have, you're wearing multiple hats because I'm not just recruiting one role. I'm recruiting from like mailroom to C-level executives. And because I'm recruiting in so many industries, I have to learn a lot of lingo and I have to learn what matters to them. It's not just, did you say the right technical words? There is a level of, I need this or I need that. And how can I figure this out? How can I screen through? So, one of the things that's made me successful is that I focus on the personality of someone rather than the technical skills, because I ask my clients one or two technical questions and the look fors in the technical when they're hiring, but I focus my interviews on personality, because then I can give them notes on the fit into the corporate culture. And that's a huge problem right now with a lot of companies that don't understand you don't need a Google budget to create an amazing corporate culture. So, Che, you mentioned a little bit earlier, a lot of entrepreneurs, let's say, need to hire their first administrative assistant or personal assistant and so forth. So it's not about, can you type, how fast you can type and so forth. So I use this example where, again, it ties into how you treat people. So, for example, if you are going to reward your administrative assistant and give them $1,000 bonus, yes, $1,000 can pay some bills and can go a long way in terms of that. But realistically speaking, there is a level where instead of giving the $1,000 bonus, if you pay for them to go for a half a day to pamper themselves in the spa, do their nails, get a massage, I guarantee you the productivity of that person will increase drastically for the next few weeks, because for a lot of people that work as administrative assistant, the spa is a luxury that they won't allow themselves. So when you as the boss take the time to go, I appreciate all the work that you do, and I want to thank you for that by letting you rejuvenate, letting you relax. That alone will double the productivity, will increase the productivity to a level that people are like, oh my God. And this is where corporate culture comes in, where organizations that understand this have a social committee and allow their staff to, do simple little things like bowling with the plastic pins that you can buy at the dollar store, the mini golf putt challenge, silly contests where the workers might get a little bit embarrassed that they're not succeeding at it, but because everyone's doing it, they get to laugh about it. Even, having depending on how big the organization is, to have, a sports team, like a softball team or something like that. And after the game, you get to go bond outside of work, have a drink, have some wings, whatever the case may be. Yeah. It's so important to morale. It's so important to there. And unfortunately, I've experienced it so much that I kind of go, no wonder people are so miserable and right now want to be entrepreneurs, because they're tired of this routine. Like, is it okay if I kind of share a quick story?
Go right ahead.
So I was working as a trader with one of the big banks in Canada. And I used to answer the phone. It's a great day, or it's a fantastic day at bank name. My name's Joseph. How can I help you? One of my coworkers complained that me saying great or fantastic could be interpreted as the bank's making too much money. So senior management had 3 2-hour-long meetings to discuss whether or not I was allowed to say great or fantastic, and decided it was easier to ban me from saying great and fantastic than to retrain 120 traders on the floor. Now, after this happened, and this is where oxymoron happens, one of the senior VPs in the division of the trading came up to me personally and said, you know what, Joe, you're super energetic, you're always positive, you're always happy, morale here is really low. I'd like you to spearhead a social committee to help boost morale. I said, great. The first thing I'm going to do is organize a potluck. Now, the VP looked at me and goes, yeah, that's probably not going to work, because the majority of the people here are bachelors. They'll probably give you $5, $10 and say they'll eat what everybody else brings. So don't worry, I'll take care of it. And I created an Excel spreadsheet. This many people can bring, drinks. This many people can bring salads. This many people can bring main courses, desserts, etc. I logged off the phone for 2 hours, and I had everybody, starting with the executives, sign up. And I said to them, I don't care if you make it, your partner makes it, your mom makes it, or you buy it, but you have to bring something. Sign up. Then the day of the potluck, I signed off for the phone for 2 hours to organize the food in a logical manner where, like, the main course wasn't beside the chocolate kind of thing. Now, for the next basically 4 months, everybody talked about how much food there was. I had the equivalent of 3 full-size executive boardroom tables of food, because we had 120 traders on the floor. kind of thing. And every single one of them brought food. Everybody talked about how good it was, the fact that they can run off their phone for a minute to grab a cookie and come back to their desk or whatever. Now, during the quarter, I won or came in the top 3 for 7 out of 10 contests, including answering 151 trading calls in an 8-hour shift. Wow. At the end of the quarter, the bank refused to give me my bonus because I was logged off the phone for 4 hours to organize the potluck that the VP told me to do. So on the one hand, the VP is communicating, yes, we need to improve morale, and asking me to spearhead activities and events that will get people excited. And as soon as I over-deliver, you're telling me, yeah, but I'm keeping the bonus for myself because you were logged off the phone to organize this. And you didn't, spend overtime to do it, kind of thing. And this is where a lot of organizations, entrepreneur, there's nothing wrong with having a vision. You don't need to be the highest paying entrepreneur in terms of the people that you hire, but you need to treat them with respect, and you need to communicate your ideas clearly. If you're all over the place with ideas and you're not following up, no wonder. I had an insurance company that I met with the president of the company to do recruiting for them. And then after the president said, yeah, I like your ideas, I like the way you're approaching it, for 3 weeks, he didn't respond to me, not by phone, not by email, and I'm like, okay, how are you the president of a company and you don't understand the importance of responding to an email, a text, a phone call for 3 weeks, kind of thing? That doesn't work. If that's how you run your insurance business, I don't want to recruit for you because you're going to do the same thing to your staff. And I don't want, my reputation is important to me, that I go the extra mile and I understand the clients I recruit for. And this is not acceptable for me.
Got it. One of the things we're doing is we're talking to the one and only Joe Stetter. And one of the things he's doing is talking about communication skills and how not only to hire, but also what questions to ask. And he's talking about a psychology behind it. That's one of the things I'm really admiring about it. We're talking about more of the psychology behind communicating. When we come back, we're going to talk about a little about, today is my January 1st. I'm going over now to the one and only, and her name is Kenneth Thigpen, and she talks about embrace change. And how relevant is this in the conversation we're having right now? Embrace change. We'll be back in just a moment. Take it away, Dr. Kenneth Thigpen.
Hello, it's your girl, Dr. Kenneth Thigpen, also known as Dr. K, founder of Rise Women's Network. And Rise Women's Network is pleased to present to you, #NextSisterUp. I'm with you in the Happy Entrepreneurs Tribe, and today is my January 1st. Here's your thought of the week. Embrace change. When I look up the definition of change, it means to make or become different. So no wonder people get so bent up out of shape when it comes to change, because if it means to become different, we've been taught from a very young age that different is bad. But what if we change our perspective of what change really is? You see, I remember when I was in a motorcycle accident and I wasn't able to walk. I wasn't able to brush my teeth or comb my hair. Talk about change. And for you, maybe there's been life events where you've experienced change. I mean, just look around. COVID-19 has caused change for many of us. But I think we should view change as something positive. It's about embracing, it's releasing, it's accepting, it's evolving, it's about growing, learning, and becoming. So I wanted to share with you 3 tips in order to embrace change. The first one is you have to be aware and acknowledge it. Stop being in denial and acknowledge the change that is there. Stop sweeping it under the rug and acknowledge it. The second thing is we need to realize what we can and cannot control. And if you make a list of the things that you can and cannot control and compare that to the values that you hold for yourself, for your family, or for those that you serve, I guarantee you the things that are outside of your control are not in alignment with your values. And then the third thing that's important to do is to keep a list of all the changes that have occurred in your life. One, because it will show you that you have survived every change that has occurred. And number 2, it will help for you to look back and see the solutions that you had and the resources that you had to get through the change in the past that will help you in the present. And so I challenge you this week, embrace change, embrace change. It's your girl, Dr. K. Make it a great day.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome back to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission is to empower. Our mission is to inspire. And our mission really is to provide you, the entrepreneur, with all of those resources, to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And sometimes that's the only thing that's holding us back. We know our purpose, we know our passion, but we don't have the resources. We don't have the expertise. We don't have the team in order to execute and get things done. And I'm really excited to be talking to the one and only Joe Stetter, who showed up today to talk about not only communication skills, but how to hire, how to ask questions, and then also how to make sure that you're bringing the right person aboard to your team. And how true is that? You know, Joe, we have a mantra here called "Today is my January 1st." And for those folks that know what I'm about to do, you can look right below the video and just write "Today is my January 1st." And today is my January 1st represents that moment in time, by the way, where throughout the day you can make a decision. And that decision could forever change the trajectory of your life. You either go to the gym, or in this case, you don't go to the gym. You got to go to the gym in your house, or you sit on the couch. You either eat hamburgers and French fries, or in many cases, you go to the refrigerator and get some fruit and some broccoli and some kale and some carrots and some celery. And that sounds good. So it's a do-over. It's a restart. It's a rebirth. It's your past does not equal your future. Joe, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what does it mean to you? What do you hear?
Well, the first connection is I'm expecting my first daughter on May 30th of this year. So to me, it's about creating the opportunity of abundance, creating the opportunity to understand that, you know what, you're going to thrive if you are willing to take a leap of faith, if you're willing to try, if you're willing to be inquisitive and creative and, fail, because failing is part of life and you learn from that. And there's a level where right now with all this COVID, the long term in terms of recession that's going to come out, because it's going to be at least a 6 months to 2 year recession after this for sure. Like, how do I, create those extra revenue streams? It's amazing to me that as a recruiter, sometimes when I speak to people, they're so terrified of starting a business because what if I fail? But, I use this example, my father, God rest his soul, was a civil engineer until the day he died. And he loved the profession. But did he have bad bosses? Absolutely. He chose to sacrifice in order to provide for the family. And I respect and admire that so much because he was such a wise man. But if let's say you're a musician and you get a gig once a month for $100, you're going to enjoy that $100 more than your entire salary on a job. So as an entrepreneur, a lot of people associate that if I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I have to make it a Fortune 100 company right away. Listen, if you get to that, more power, and I wish you success and congratulations and kind of be excited about that. But even if you're doing it to subsidize your income and go, you know what, I want to be able to send my kids to school. I want to be able to travel more. I want to have more choice in life. Like, start small, take those baby steps, learn from people like, Henry Ford was sued for being too dumb to run the Ford Motor Company. And during his trial, he was asked who in history did blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I don't know. And they accused him, said, well, if you don't know this, how can you be the president of Ford Motor Companies? And he said, because there's this little invention where I can press a button called a telephone, and I can bring in a historian who knows exactly who did blah, blah, blah in history. My mind is focused on building a great engine. That's all my mind needs to know. And as such, this is where, other people have said this, and I've kind of implemented this for my own business. As the president of my company, I should never be the smartest man in the room. If you're smart enough to hire people that know more than you in their expertise, you can grow your vision much faster because they know what they're doing. Like marketing, I have a great marketing team that supports me and helps me. Annie Koshi, that was part of your show, Mirelle Scalese, who's created some amazing infographics and stuff like that. And I trust their expertise because they know what they're doing. I kind of go, here's the content, here's the message, here's the communication. You guys make it do what it needs to do because that's your expertise. I hire an accountant to do my accounting because I don't like sitting on an Excel spreadsheet and calculating everything. I hire a lawyer because they know the law and they know how to word things to protect me in my business, because most entrepreneurs will tell you they failed once or twice. I manifested a business partner that taught me a $300,000 life lesson and wiped me clean. And I had to kind of go beyond zero to minus 300,000 and rebuild myself from the ashes, kind of thing, like a phoenix rising. But there's a level where even though I was burned, I still believe in the importance of communicating with others, sharing duties, sharing tasks, collaborating with people that have achieved more, and hiring mentors and coaches that can help guide through some of the, you're going to experience this. There's amazing books on it as well, that it's just a matter of, again, you know what you know, and there's a level of, okay, how can I replicate this? How can I help the world? In my case, for entrepreneurs, if I ask most companies, when was the last time you checked with your employees what drives them? For most employees, it's security, income, growth, or happiness are the four factors that they look at. But if somebody's driven by happiness, you don't need to pay them a lot of money. You just need to treat them well. You need to acknowledge them that they did a good job. You need to give them their kudos when they have put in that extra effort, for example. And not enough organizations do that. Unfortunately, there's a mindset of, I need to look at an Excel spreadsheet and make a decision based on the Excel spreadsheet, as opposed to have those real life connections, have that, especially when you're huge, a company like, let's say, Deloitte Touche, when they have like 40,000 employees, you can't know every single one of them. It's physically impossible. But you can create tribes, and within the tribes, you have set cultures, you have set behaviors, so that anybody that's working there knows what's expected, knows how they're being treated, and anyone that's joining the team can transition easily. One of my favorite case studies on this is two of the biggest giants in retail that exist, Walmart and Costco. Now, I'm going to speak with statistics from Canada because they're a little bit different from the US, especially from state to state. Walmart believes that if they gave their staff $1 raise, they will, the four Walton brothers that are each worth between $38 and $45 billion, that if they gave $1 raise, they will go bankrupt. COVID aside, where now they have to give a raise because it's kind of mandated by the government as well. Walmart is trying to kind of automate things with self-checkouts. The top store manager in Ontario makes about $70,000 a year. And they have a mindset of micromanaging, where they're yelling and screaming at their staff and checking everything that you do, and kind of constantly like over your head, kind of looking at you going, where are you doing this? Where are you doing this, kind of thing. And if you look at Walmart staff, most of them look like they're ready to die because they're miserable. Now, Costco, for example, has cashiers that make $100,000 a year. Costco has calculated that to lose, like the worst Costco store in Ontario during the weekday makes $1 million a day. So Costco starts cashiers at $17 an hour. And if during the 6 months probation, you score well in one of three categories: how fast you are, how accurate you are, and your ability to do quick chit chat but keep the line moving. If you score well in those three categories, Costco will bump you to $22 an hour after your 6 months probation, because if calculated, it's cheaper for them to give you a $5 raise than the cost of $140,000 a month to lose one good cashier that knows what they're doing. Costco gives their full-time employees benefits, discounts on product, and even on weekends when it's crazy busy, everybody there is laughing, joking. Even now with COVID, you go into Costco, as much as there's the restrictions in terms of distancing and making sure that everything is as safe as possible, there's still an energy and a vibe of happiness. There's still an energy of like excitement to work there. And this is where, again, it's that mindset of treating people. 70% of the back office at Costco started pushing carts or being cashiers. And when they promote somebody, they give that person a month and a half to train the replacement so that there's little to no gaps, and the communication is clear and they kind of know everything and they're set up for success kind of thing. And I think there needs to be more of that along the lines of entrepreneurs connecting with their staff and going, okay, what is your 6 months goal? What is your 1 year goal? Like, how can we work together to achieve it? So if somebody's interested in being educated and learning, offer incentive, like you do this in terms of performance and I'll pay for this self-development course, right? And again, a self-development course is going to cost you what, $500 to $3,000, let's say, for the most self-development courses. But think about what that investment will do in the long run, because your employee is going to go, oh my God, I got to go to do, let's say, a Tony Robbins seminar, weekend, like the Walk of Fire. And I was so excited doing that when they come back to the office, they're like pumped now to even perform more because they know that reward is available to them. And you're connecting with the individual on the personal level. And this is where, again, the communication, the relationship building is so important.
Yeah, I love it. How can folks connect with you?
So the celebrategroup.ca is my website. On Facebook, the Celebrate Group. On LinkedIn, JOSEF Stetter or the Celebrate Group. I answer to all of them. And it's a level of, again, there's so many resources to help organizations understand. Like right now, as a corporate culturist, I serve companies in 5 different ways. I help them, first of all, hire the right people, because I also do up to 5 personality assessments on each candidate and give you all the notes and summary as to what makes them tick so that you know how to keep them for the next few years. I help you understand your staff better by doing those personality assessments and digging deep into why there might be turnover and why there might be dissatisfaction. I help organizations understand that through communication, you can create a culture of celebration. You know, the 1 Minute Manager is one of my favorite books, where you don't need to spend hours and hours in meetings that kind of go and go. Just get to the point. What's working? What needs to be improved? What's the game plan? Kind of thing. That's the mindset. In terms of communication, social responsibility, a big buzzword right now that's happening, where organizations are going, oh, we donate money to charity. But yeah, you're cutting a check. I have companies that say to me, yeah, we build a house for Habitat for Humanity. I go, yeah, but you're forcing your staff to do it on a Saturday, Sunday. If you want to be socially responsible, pay for them to do it Thursday, Friday. And if your staff is enjoying the experience, let them choose to come back Saturday, Sunday, because Saturday, Sunday is the employee's personal time. It's family time. It's, downtime, kind of regroup, rejuvenate. And finally, especially now, if organizations unfortunately are being hit really hard with all this COVID and unfortunately need to downsize, the Celebrate Group and I have personally coached over 10,500 people to find employment. We have a 90% success rate of finding anybody employment in any field in under 3 months. And we can help kind of transition your staff to kind of another opportunity where you're not going to have to worry about lawsuit. You're not going to have to worry about bad reviews, because unfortunately, COVID-19 is a surprise that kind of is forcing everybody to reevaluate their business and model, their structure, their, what's next for them kind of thing. And you're going to see that there's going to be a huge shift of, I'm sorry, but at the moment I need to recuperate some of the losses. And unfortunately, I have no choice but to surplus.
That makes a lot of sense. That is right on target. When we come back, we're going to ask the one and only Joe to have his closing comments as we close out this particular segment. And I love the final thoughts. You don't want to miss it. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes with the one and only Joe. Joe, you're rocking out. We suggest everyone connect with Joe right now. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. We're going over to the one and only Kim Warren Martin. Excuse me. She says, make progress, not excuses. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes.
Hello there, happy entrepreneurs. Today is your January 1st, and you guys are all awesome in my book. This is Dr. Kim Warren Martin, founder of Successful and Fulfilled, bringing you my thought of the week here on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. This week's thought is, make progress, not excuses. Tony Robbins once said, there are only 2 options, make progress or make excuses. Now, we've all made excuses at some point in our lives or in our business. But if you happen to be someone who's moved past making excuses and certainly letting them hold you back, kudos to you. Thumbs up. But if you're struggling and lacking motivation, here are 3 things you can do to motivate or inspire yourself to take action. Number 1, think about a successful person you look up to and ask yourself, what would that person do? For example, what would Oprah do? Or what would Mark Cuban do? One thing you know is they wouldn't make excuses because excuses don't make progress, and no progress means no money. Number 2 is focus on why you got started in business in the first place. Examine how close you are to your original intent. This is more about the what, not the how. What you want to accomplish in your business should be clear, even more clear now than then. The how may vary over time as technology changes or tools change, but always keep sight of your vision and your mission. And finally, you can go to the nearest mirror, look yourself straight in the eye, and point at yourself and say, man, you got this. Girl, you got this. The Bible said David encouraged himself in the Lord. And sometimes we just need to see that we believe that we can do it on the inside without outside approval. So do it for yourself and the people you're called to serve. Plus, know that I believe in you and I know you got this. This is Dr. Kim Warren Martin, founder of Successful and Fulfilled, with the thought, make progress, not excuses. Until next time, make it a wonderful day. Back over to you, Shay.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome back to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission is to empower, our mission is to inspire, and our mission really is to provide you, the entrepreneur, with all of those resources that you need to execute the vision you were called to serve. And so for the people you were called to serve. And so I don't want you to be held back because you don't have the resources. You don't have the necessary talent. You're not connected to the right folks. Joe is one of those folks, especially for every single one of you who are either working right now and you're looking to transition, because he does help folks with recruiting, helps folks transition. Or as an entrepreneur, many of you are like, wow, I've got to hire a 1099, or I got to hire a full-time person, or I've got to work with someone I'm going to collaborate with. What's the best way to navigate those waters? And that's what I like what he's doing right now. He's making a difference in the world. Joe, before you give your closing comments, I'd like to go rapid fire if we can for a moment. And rapid fire is where I get to ask any question and you get to answer it in a minute or less. And I'm just curious, man, as you've been doing the talking, of all the lessons you've learned along this journey of life, what's one lesson you learned from a mentor that you can share with us that's going to help us along our journey?
Me personally, I overcomplicate things way too much. So my mentor is stop thinking 10 steps ahead and just do the first step first.
Do the first step first. Why is that so important?
Because we get so in our head that I need to do this, this, and this, that we actually forget to execute and do the one thing that will get us started. That's what Dr. Obama actually said to me yesterday as a conversation. He's like, you know what? I love that you're thinking so far ahead, but do step 1 first.
Yeah. Yeah. You've had opportunity to be a member of TOASTMASTERS for a number of years, win awards, and do some cool stuff. What's one of the things you've learned through TOASTMASTERS as it relates to communicating? And there's so many through all the modules and different levels and so forth. But you take a takeaway. You say, you know what? This is one of the reasons why TOASTMASTERS has worked for me, and I'll share this idea with everyone that's listening right now. Confidence.
When you are confident, whether it's in business, whether it's in relationship, if you approach someone and go, I'm high, can I get your number? Generally, your chances are very slim, because unless you're very attractive, person's not going to talk to you. It's no different in business. If you come and say, please, please, please work with me, you don't have confidence that you have something to value. Have confidence that your message, your experience, your knowledge is important and is needed, and find the right niche for people to work with.
I love it. And Joe, what do you enjoy most about what you're doing now? I mean, you can be doing a lot of different things with your time, but it sounds like this is something you really enjoy. You have a passion for. What do you enjoy most about it?
I think I enjoy the fact that I'm going to create a ripple effect of how people treat each other, and generations to come can go, you know what? This was implemented. Like, I remember Joe saying this, or I remember this, and I'm going to continue that because I see so much value in, doing extra, connecting with people one-on-one, and not just just internet kind of thing. And at the end of the day, I want people to succeed because I believe in abundance. There's, I think between Canada and the United States, there's something like 700,000 businesses. So as a entrepreneur that serves businesses, I'd love to say I'm serving all 700,000 of them, but like realistically, it's not going to happen. So understand there's more than enough business for everybody, and just make sure that you're present to who you are, how amazing you are, and what about you is unique or different that can be celebrated in a way that moves you forward.
Yeah. Sometimes the topic comes up with affirmations, and that's certainly important to certain people. I'm curious, is there an affirmation? Is there a quote? Is there a saying that you tell yourself to keep you focused, to keep you on track, to keep you so upbeat? Like, what thoughts go through your head that allow you to stay at the level that you are right now?
Well, I have a vision board that I look at every day, and I have 18 affirmations that I go through every day. And it's a matter of, everything happens for a reason. In times of struggle, instead of going, why me, more of why now? What can I learn from this? How can I grow? How can I become better? And I think to me, that was the biggest thing, because I've had to do it so many times to reinvent myself, both in terms of being an employee and now as an entrepreneur, that it's like, okay, COVID, you told me I need to be at home. Great. Time to create a new course. Great. Time to connect with people I haven't spoken to in a while and see how we can collaborate in terms of helping their business and in return helping me, because there's a kickback. There is, an opportunities that I wouldn't have had otherwise. And it's just a matter of staying positive and trusting, having faith that there's abundance and abundance is coming.
I love it, man. Thank you again, man. We appreciate you spending time. Tell the folks once again, how can they connect with you? I want to thank you for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. And then go ahead, if you would, and share your final thoughts. You certainly have a heart to give. You have a heart to serve. You showed up. You were very enthusiastic. You said, Shay, I'm programmed to be there 15 minutes early. And true to his word, he's ringing my phone. He's like, I'm freaking the computer. Like, hey, I'm here, dude. Whenever you finish doing what you're doing, I'm here and I'm ready. And that was so encouraging and so enlightening, man. So I appreciate the messages that you were sending back and forth. And certainly your energy has transferred this evening or this morning or this afternoon, whatever time you're seeing this, by the way, it is transferred over to those folks that are out there to do the most important part, and that is communicate and also be able to hire, then also being able to partner. And if you can do that, I always say success is a team sport. You can only get so far by yourself. All right, my man, go ahead and give your final thoughts and comments, man. We appreciate you and got to have you back on the show.
I would love to. So, and thank you for having me, Jay. It's been a great experience. So again, in terms of connecting me, the celebrategroup.ca, info@celebrategroup.ca, LinkedIn, celebrategroup.ca, or Joseph Stetter, and then Facebook, Celebrate Group as well. And I'll respond and happy to connect there. In terms of final thoughts, I'm going to say this. You know what? One of my favorite adages is no man is an island unto himself. So understand that as an entrepreneur, you have a vision, you know where you want to go, but you need to trust that people are going to come into your life to help build you and take you to get you where you want to be faster, because they have resources, ideas, network that you might not have access to. So get a mentor, get a coach. If you kind of get a mentor and you achieve their level, find a better mentor, kind of level up, as it says. And don't be afraid to take a chance, because you know what? The world needs authentic, real communication. Not just, here's my product, here's my service, but communicate the story of what is your expertise and why. Communicate that you care about people, that you are of service. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. The moment that you're of service, you'll get back 10 times what you put out. So keep that in mind, and life will be happy, and there will be abundance, and you'll get interviewed on the Happiness Business Show, and you'll get introduced to people that, look, I'm here in Canada, but I'm speaking to you in Washington, and your viewers, and there's an opportunity now to go, hey, wait, I need to do this with my business. I never thought about this. I never thought about corporate culture. How do I take care of my people? How do I communicate that I appreciate them? And so this is where that's my expertise. You know, your expertise is whatever your expertise is. Your experience is your experiences. And I'll leave with this. When you point a finger at somebody, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. So understand that don't find the excuses, find the solutions. And the more if you don't know how to find the solution yourself, reach out. There is enough avenues for you to kind of find resources that can help you and can help you succeed faster, better, because the universe wants you to succeed. You are destined to have some level of success in life.
Fantastic. Thank you again so much. We appreciate it. With that being said, we want to thank the one and only Joe Stetter for being on here this evening. I want you all to know that listening, you're amazing. I want you to know that you're incredible. I want you to know that today is your January 1st. You're going to hire the right person. Today is your January 1st. You're going to communicate your mission, your goals, and your objectives to someone else who's going to partner with you. Today is your January 1st. There is abundance, and it's owed to you. With that being said, my name, by the way, for those folks that just tuned in, is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And as I always say, I want you to remember, life is long. Time is short. Enjoy the moment and make the most of it. God bless, and I wish you success. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot, Joe, man. You're a rock star.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you again soon. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
Thank you. God bless.